Hi, my name is Steve Packard. I am a resident of Omaha, Nebraska. I'm an activist in Omaha, Nebraska, and I want to explain, give some body, some detail on what I intend to do as an activist over the next few years here in Omaha. Part of activism I think in general is lifestyle choice. What kind of lifestyle do you choose to live? It's an important question because lifestyle lifestyle is kind of about patterns. It's about repetitions, and if you choose a lifestyle that has poor ethical standards or poor ethical values, and you repeat those poor ethical values over and over, then you're going to end up with, really, I think, a poor ethical life in general, standard of living. To me, that's kind of the root of a lot of the problems I think that people face today, is they were either unprepared or they were uninformed about what it was to live wisely, to live ethically. And it's sad, in some instances, kind of tragic. But to me, that's something that you can hit. You can really, quote, strike the root of those poor, uninformed, unprepared decisions early in life. Maybe what some might call education. And in that sense, education has always fascinated me. I grew up in the public education system, and I was not totally impressed. I mean, as far as I did not see merit maybe as often as I thought the standard should have been in public education growing up. And the reason I'm making this video is I want to create an idea. I want to give some body, some detail about what it is that I wish to do to change it. And in that sense, I'd like to give all of you an idea of where I am in my life and what it is I wish to do with my lifestyle to try and create a more prepared, a more informed, a more ethical society. I started my university career at University of Nebraska-Lincoln with a full tuition scholarship. I started it in music education, was my first major, and it was a very enriching experience, and I did appreciate the time that I spent there, but I came to realize that I was not very motivated at the time. I was not very driven. Initiative was low, to say the least. You know, I left Lincoln mostly because of this lack of motivation, and I came to UNO. I transferred, and really what I was trying to do was find out why it was that I felt so unmotivated. Why was it that I had this lack of initiative? And what it was, I think, was that really I wasn't very inspired to begin with, which is important when you're trying to choose a lifestyle to live by, which is important when you're trying to live ethically. That was one problem. Another problem was that I did not know, I think, how to move forward. I did not know, even if I did find the inspiration, what should I focus on? These are problems both of preparedness and also a problem of having knowledge. So in that sense, I had a lot of trouble. Finally, I got involved in liberty activism and ethics activism, voluntarism activism, and I finally found some inspiration. And I started to think, what can I do to contribute? One thing that I noticed was lacking was really a deep knowledge base for the activism. So much more could be done if people were given more information and were more prepared for what is waiting out there in the world for all of us. And so at first I thought a science degree, which is still what I'm pursuing today, but at first I thought more like an applied science like physics or chemistry. And I actually changed my degree to chemistry, my major to chemistry, and I pursued chemistry for a few years, not at a very great pace and not probably with great vigor or rigor. But I did make it as far as organic chemistry, which is, is a very applicable and certainly complex science. And at that point, I realized it was probably going to take me a while to finish a chemistry degree if I was continuing at the rate I was, just for a variety of reasons and factors going on in my life. So I changed it again. I changed it to math. And I'm much closer to getting a math degree than I ever was chemistry. And so I've done that, and I've been informed that not only can I finish a Bachelor's of Science in Math with a teaching certification, but I can actually finish with 2 degrees. I can finish Bachelor of Science with Mathematics and, I believe, a Bachelor of Arts in Secondary Education. Or maybe it's a Bachelor of Science. I'll confirm that. But either way, this video, I'm creating this video because I want to explain to people what it is I wish to do. And that is how I, when I think of how can we create more prepared people, how can we create more knowledgeable people, it's about education. It's about education. Homeschooling should be the choice of maximum responsibility of pushing the standard in education. Mostly because there is a system out there right now, public education, government education, that I think is starting to feel the effects of basically emotional dependence. I could go into sort of a long argument and explanation about that, but basically there are people that are emotionally dependent on government, and not just government, but I think the vicious ends of government. They're the money that the government gets, which is taken by force. It's taxation is theft. That is my belief. Taxation as it exists, it's not voluntary. It's not optional. If you choose not to pay, people will come with the use of violent force and apply pressure on you to basically fulfill their emotional needs and wants to continue to operate this vicious government cycle. And I don't want anyone, I don't want you, me, the people around us, to feel that we need to fulfill this dependency. We are enabling these people to be vicious actors, to pursue vicious behaviors. and that should be unacceptable. Now, that being said, homeschooling has its weaknesses. There's a reason why everyone doesn't just stop and homeschool. This is true. Part of the reason is certainly supervision. There are grave concerns about letting a 4 or 5-year-old, and there should be concerns about letting a 4 or 5-year-old basically explore the world unsupervised. And so supervision is one thing. Most people work full-time. There are not a lot of stay-at-home parents out there at the moment, but I hope that those numbers will increase dramatically soon. And so what's the best solution? Well, you're paying taxes anyway, might as well send them to a public school. I can understand that logic or that reasoning that it's it's the best you can do at the moment. But what if I could offer you better? What if I could do one better? I will soon, well, in the next 5 years, the goal is 3 years, I will have both of these degrees, one in mathematics and one in secondary education, which is basically an administration degree. And what if I could open a facility that not only could help supervise your kid, but then give you and your child the option to school responsibly how you and your kid want to be educated, how you want that education to turn out for them. Because right now, options are very limited if you go to a public education, if you go to a government education school. But what if you had the freedom to do that? Wouldn't that be valuable? Isn't that a great gift? Isn't it something, an ideal concept to give to your kid, that they will be able to explore on their own time and of their own interest and volition, their own willpower, what it is they want or do not want. So I guess what I'm talking about is a homeschooling education facility. And how would it work? The way it would work is, the way I envision it, is basically I would have to get a building, and my hope is I could sort of have cell rooms, where 1, 2, 3 kids, maybe at the most, would share a cell room to study individually. So there would be no pressure to do a lecture class if that's not what they wanted, but also they would have a sense of their own progress and their own education. They'd have their own desk, not a little row desk, cemetery seating desk in a public school classroom. They will have a full desk with drawers and internet access. Every student that goes to this facility can have this, and they can store things at their desk in their cell rooms. They may have cell room mates. They can use those. They can create those social interactions with the cell room mates. They can study together as a team. There's nothing wrong with teamwork in education. And we can create more. We'll have a kitchen. Does your kid know how to cook? Do you want us to teach them to cook? Do you want to teach them to cook? This facility will allow anyone at any time to try and enter, and it will only be open to staff members, your kids, you the parents, and probably 1 or 2 security personnel. Any of those people can come in at any time, and if you want to come just check up on your kid, you know, let's say you've got the morning off and you want to come see what's going on with your kid at the school at 11 a.m. You show up at 11 a.m. You know, I greet you at the door. I take you to the cell. I take you to where they are. Maybe probably the cell. Maybe they're in a commons area. Maybe there's a garden outside or something. I take you there, and you can chat with them, talk with them, hang out. If you guys want to leave, it's all in your own time. You know, we will all have access to this facility. Hopefully 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is my goal, and you'll finally have the freedom to choose your education with your kid, whatever it is that you guys wish to accomplish. Do you want to just have them graduate at 16 years of age with a general equivalency degree or some kind of high school equivalency degree, and then they go learn a trade or something like that? Fine, that's up to you. Do you want them to go to college, get an associate's degree or something? That's your choice. That's between you and your kid. Do you want them to go get a bachelor's degree at a major university? Do you want them to get a graduate degree, a postgraduate degree? I mean, do we want to, you know, do high-end research at this homeschooling education facility that postgraduates are in awe of? The sky's the limit as far as I'm concerned. What needs to happen, all we need to do to make this happen, is kind of get on the ball about the reality of it, the practicality of it. I have some very specific ideas about how to make this happen. I think it can be made to happen, but basically some things in terms of practicality need to happen for this to happen. First, I need to, you know, get my degrees, which as long as there are people interested in this idea, I will continue to pursue the degree. If you're interested in the idea of me and as administrator of a facility to help educate your kids in a way that is both affordable and idealistic for you, that's great. I'm dedicated to this if you are. I'm all in. But what do we need to do to get this done? So I need to get my degrees. That'll take 3 years, maybe at the soonest. It could take as long as 4, maybe 5. But as soon as I'm done, we can have all of this ready to go. I mean, we can have the facility ready. We can have the cell rooms ready. We can have the kitchen ready. We can have the enrollment ready to go. Everyone registered, and your kid can start to learn in a way that you want them to and that they want themselves to learn, which is really important. To make that happen, once I get further in this degree, we'll need to find a building. We'll need a building that is probably fairly large. It'll need enough room for a desk for I'm thinking 30 kids. The budget is something else that we need to come up with, but basically I'm looking right now at a price that is, I think, pretty killer for an awesome education. It's $100 a month per kid. So if you have one kid, $100 a month, 2 kids, $200 a month. But to sustain this, to make this work, at $100 a month, I'm thinking 30 kids. I'm going to need to see, I think, $3,000 per month to make this work. Because when you think about it, that's not just my pay. I'm working at a bargain at that price. But that's just not my pay. We're talking about paying rent. We're also talking about paying utilities. We're talking about the initial capital for this, so buying the desks, making sure, inspections, and making sure this place is going to be safe to live, to learn in, internet access, maintenance costs, that's a minimum. Maybe I should step it up. Maybe $150 is probably closer to what we should want out of this. $200 I feel like starts making this prohibitive, and I don't want to push people out just based on some price. Or maybe we can work on this together. Maybe we can come up with some kind of plan where we can look at people's paychecks or paycheck stubs or their proof of income, and we can say, okay, we're going to charge this much for this income bracket. We're going to charge this much. We're going to expect this much for this income bracket, and this much. And maybe that would be a better way to make this pay off and make this happen. So, anyhow, I need my degrees. We need a building. We need students. I need, so 30 I think is the number we'll need. 30 kids from some brave, bold, and caring parents about where they want their kids to go. So, where they want their kids to go to get an education. So, making that happen, I think, is within the realm of possibility. And yeah, this is kind of idealistic, but there are other great things about this too. I'd like to set up security cameras that broadcast live to parents, staff members, security, all over the building. And I want it to be recorded, live on the internet too, and that none of us can delete anything. It would eliminate the kind of abuse that we've seen at Central High School here in Omaha, that we saw at one of the Bellevue schools with Kevin Tucker. Everyone would be held accountable. It would also give us an idea, if anything else were to occur that would be a little vicious, that who did what, and that might be a good thing. But all of these things, what a difference it would make for your kids. It's certainly the way I would want my kid to be educated. But it would be a homeschooling support facility. So you choose to homeschool, and what will happen is when you feel like you need tutoring, you want them to learn things that maybe you have less expertise, you bring them to the homeschooling education facility, and they can come of their own will as well if they just want to, if the older kids want to drive or whatever, that's fine. But you come to the facility, and we set your kid up with one of the homeschooling education programs, with one of the online programs, and then we test and we learn, and we find out how far you guys want to go, and we go, and that is everything that we should strive for, and not just in a logical sense, but emotionally as well. I want kids to be emotionally prepared for things, and that's a great benefit of homeschooling as well, is you will have an emotional connection with your kid that you will not have if they go to a public school. These are important things, for a kid, for your child, for your children. So to me, this is what's important going forward. If you think that an ethical society, a voluntary society, is what we should have, is the standard that should be, we need to start with showing that to our kids, to our children, that is what's important, and that we're committed to it, and dedicated to it, possibly by making a facility like this. So I recently stopped some of my activism here in Omaha, and this is how I intend to replace it. I intend to replace the activism that I was doing with this activism, which I think is important, which I think can do far more good for the future than anything I think I may have been doing before. So let's get on top of this. Let's start it. Let's start going. Let's start making this happen. If there are people interested in this out there that see this, then contact me. Contact me and let's make this happen. I'm not sure I can do this alone. I'm not sure I can do this alone. There are a lot of things that I cannot do alone. This is very possibly one of them. But the reward, the payoff on this is so great. So great. We should all of us be trying to get to that goal. I think this is a great idea. I think it's revolutionary, if not just changing the paradigm or whatever, the entire world and education. This idea, I think, can change things forever. I really think it's that big, and if we can make it happen here, it can be made to happen anywhere. I'm sure of that. So, like I said, if you're interested in this, contact me. Let's figure out how we can make this happen and how we can make it go, and let's find that best solution, that committed and dedicated solution for your children. I think that's all I've got for now. I hope you all are doing well. I hope this video has been helpful in trying to give you an idea of what I intend to do next and what I'm looking forward to doing. And I hope you're interested in making this happen with me. Get in contact with me, and I will hopefully talk to you guys soon.